I'm going to try this new sidewards thing. Please let me know if it's terrible to see. There we go. So I'm going to be uploading these onto YouTube. So just to let you know, that's going to be something that I'm going to start doing. That's why I'm going to try to record them sideways, because I think it'll fit the pixels better for YouTube. But we'll see. I'm not tech savvy, so it's just trial and error for me. Alrighty, so we're going to be starting part 2 of chapter 11. The complication I mentioned above, amniotic fluid embolism, AFE, is a rather mysterious one so rare that textbooks estimate its frequency at 1 in every 50 to 80,000 births. It seems to be occurring far more often in recent years, at least in the United States. Chicago writer Deanna Isaacs, whose daughter died of AFE in 1994 after her routine induction, learned to her surprise neither she nor her daughter had ever heard of AFE. In that incidence of AFE at the Phoenix hospital where her daughter died is 1 in 6,500 births. Isaacs points out in her article that the official U.S. death rate is about 1 in every 5,000 births. If every U.S. hospital had such a high incidence of AFE, we could expect that more than 300 women would die every year from this complication alone. According to the CDC and the Massachusetts Department of Public Health's Maternal Mortality and Morbidity Review Committee, AFE is now one of the most frequent killers of women in pregnancy and birth in the United States, with more than 30 women dying from this complication every year. One of the first 40 blocks contributed to the Safe Motherhood quilt. There were 11 deaths from AFE, and all but 3 cases involving artificial induction or augmentation of labor. During a recent time period in the UK, 1997 to 1999, there were only 2 AFE deaths in the year in England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland combined. Hi, Elaine. Is this sideways view hard to see, or is it okay? I'm trying, because I'm going to be uploading these onto YouTube, so I'm trying a different setup. I don't know. AFE kills more than half of the women who are stricken. Almost all always happens during or just following labor, and in approximately half of the reported cases is associated with excessively strong, closely spaced uterine contractions. The kind women may have labors induced with Pitocin or prostaglandins such as Cytotec, Cervidil, and Prepidil. Pathologists believe that the condition is more likely to occur when a considerable amount of amniotic fluid mixed with skin cells vernix, that's that white stuff on the baby's skin when they're born, vernix, and fetal hair is forced into the maternal bloodstream, causing immediate cardiac arrest. However, U.S. OB Stephen Clark, now the reigning U.S. guru on AFE, isn't so sure. Here you go, book about. For 2 decades, he has advanced the theory that some particularly sensitive women can't tolerate amniotic fluid in their bloodstream, while others can. Just as most people can be stung by a bee without a severe allergic reaction, while a small number die from it. Despite the plethora of articles documenting the association between AFE and chemically augmented labors, Clark downplays the connection. His campaign to chip away at the pathologist's understanding of AFE has effectively fragmented the U.S. consensus that augmented labors may lead to AFE. And again, this is amniotic fluid embolism. The latest edition of Williams OB's, one of the 2 most influential OB's textbooks, no longer mentions this association at all. No longer do most U.S. OBs think it is necessary to remain at the hospital while a mother in their care undergoes an artificially induced or augmented labor. If the outcome is bad, there is a lawsuit. The OB will not usually be blamed by a judge or jury who is looking after the mothers. In an interview with Deanna Isaacs, Clark said the frightening thing about this AFE is that if you are pregnant and you've gotten genetic mismatch, you are going down. There's not a cotton-picking thing as of yet that we can do, unfortunately, to predict it. Isaacs, who interviewed many OBs in several countries following her daughter's death, remarked in her comprehensive and exhaustively researched article published in 1998 that he unconvinced about Clark's genetic theory, wrote, "In the end, AFE may prove not to be the result of a rare allergy. There's plenty of evidence in the medical literature to suggest that significant volume of amniotic fluid, especially the fluid of a woman in labor carrying meconium, vernix, or other chemical or particulate material, is toxic. It's in women's bloodstream. It seems necessary to postulate an unusual allergic sensitivity genetic mismatch to explain havoc such fluid can rise." Commenting on her realization that Clark was campaigning to rewrite the existing OB doctrine of AFE to undo connection between induction and deadly complications, she said, Clark himself provided what looks like evidence to the contrary when he reported that 50% of patients in the cases he reviewed for his 1995 study had been given oxytocin during labor. Could it be that the frequency of AFE is rising as the number of induced labors increase? My educated hunch is yes. Until we have a better research available, it would seem wise to avoid chemical induction of labor whenever possible. Labor is less likely to be induced in the case of home or birth center births, but you can plan out of hospital births. I urge you to interview your midwife and ask her explicitly about her induction policy. My advice is to avoid hiring someone who dabbles in the medical model by using oxytocin, pitocin, or prostaglandin drugs, Cytotec, for labor induction or augmentation. A new technique for suturing the uterus after cesarean. Alrighty, I'm going to upload this one and then I will read this next section.